lot of countries around the world are starting to introduce electronic digital visas for you to be able to travel there as a tourist. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining why I'm really concerned about this whole new program that many countries such as Japan, the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and the whole European Union, I'm really concerned with them introducing this policy. So if you are unfamiliar, I have made a couple of videos about these before, specifically talking about the UK and the European Union's new ETIAS and ETA policy, and I really don't like this at all. I have referred to them as bureaucracy manifest, and I still stand by all those points. I think this is absolutely asinine. I think this is going to cause major harm to people who are well-intentional tourists, and for me, I see this as completely useless. And I do think there is actually something quite sinister behind this program, because a lot of people might be thinking, oh, it's not the end of the world. It's a €10 tax that we have to pay to get an ETIAS travel authorization. It's not really the end of the world. It doesn't really impact me. Well, let's take a couple of cases. For example, it takes a couple of days for you to get the ETIAS, so you can't just make a last-minute trip to any European Union country or the UK. Now, you have to wait about 48 hours to 72 hours. Now, why that concerns me is if you have to leave the country very quickly, and this is not alluding to the fact that you have done anything wrong. If you just have to leave the country quickly because of a family emergency, or maybe you're just sick of the country that you're in and you just want to leave immediately, which does happen, believe me, it does happen. Well, that's not going to be possible anymore because you now have to plan it in advance, which for me is totally asinine. Let's take, for example, that you are living as an expat in the UK and you're a UK citizen, you don't have any other passport. You have family, let's say, in Estonia. Let's say your grandmother is Estonian and she's living in Tallinn, she's living a good life, but you don't have the Estonian passport because they don't allow dual nationality. Well then, let's say your grandma becomes ill, it's a terrible situation, and you have to visit her in the hospital to, I guess, say your final goodbyes. What, are you now going to wait 3 days to get approved for some ESTA or some ETIAS crap? No, that shouldn't be how it works at all. You should be able to get on the plane and go there immediately. This is just a bunch of bureaucratic nonsense. And for me, I said this in a couple of my other videos, don't for a second believe that the European Union, the UK, the US, Canada, or any country that has this policy introduced it for your personal benefit. They introduced it for a couple of reasons. Number one, to make some more dineros from every single tourist. Number two, it's a compliance scheme where they can just abuse their power, I guess. And number three, they're trying to restrict your travel. Now, it might not seem that restrictive currently, but wait a couple of years. This is quite a pessimistic point. But what if they decide to introduce the price? What if they say, okay, you now have to apply a month in advance? Or maybe you'll just lose visa-free access overall for every single country because of, you have to cut down your carbon footprint or what have you. So for me, this is a very big red flag about looking to restrict your travel. I really am not fond of this at all. Now, I can complain about this as much as I want, and I am complaining about it. I'm criticising it. I think the ETIAS policy introduced by the European Union is stupid. I think the UK ETA policy is stupid. I think all of these digital visas are kind of stupid. Anything on the digital database, I have a lot of questions about and I don't really trust. But also, I don't think it's that constructive to just talk about the issue without facing any of the solutions. So here are my personal solutions as to how you can sort of counter these new bureaucratic policies. And if you're a subscriber of this channel, which I hope you are, and if you are, I would definitely recommend subscribing right now, would be to get another citizenship. If you are a dual UK EU national, well then the ETA policy introduced by the UK and the ETIAS policy introduced by the European Union will not impact you, because if you are going to travel to the Schengen area, you'll use your EU passport. If you're going to travel to the UK, you're going to use your UK passport. If you're an Irish citizen, this doesn't impact you at all because you have one of the best passports in Europe and in the world. So if you're an Irish citizen, this does not impact you. But if you are not an Irish citizen, if you cannot get Irish citizenship, the solution would be get another passport, get another citizenship. Take a look at your ancestry line. Maybe you have a grandparent who was born in Italy, or maybe they were from Italy. Maybe they're from any European country. Maybe your mum was born in the United States, where there's a Just Solely program, certainly at the time. You can get the American citizenship that way. Same principle with Canada, Panama, any country realistically around the world. So just start looking at your family tree, start looking at options on how you can be diversified. Because for me, I don't want to go through this bureaucratic process. I don't want to wait 3 days to be approved to a country. I am a well-intentioned person. I just want to go to a country, take photographs, see if I want to live there long term. But I just want to go there as a tourist first. So the idea of me or anyone waiting 3 days to be able to go to a country quickly, which you could do very efficiently in the past, does not make any sense. They are trying to restrict your freedom of travel by introducing baby steps into how it's going to be restricted. First they say, oh, you have to wait 3 days in advance and you have to pay €10. You know, like I said, what if they say, okay, now you have to pay €100 per person and you have to book it a month in advance? What if they say you have to book it 6 months in advance because we want to restrict your travel, right? I find that unlikely to happen, but it is something to be concerned about because, like I said, for me, this is not something that they introduce with the kind heart and the kind intentions. How can we make the lives of tourists and travellers more easy? No, they actually want to restrict this, in my opinion. And for me, this is a very dodgy scheme that's being introduced, and I have no faith in it at all. Let me know what you think about the points that I've raised in this video. Do you agree with me, or do you have a different perspective? And if you like this video, you can click right here, subscribe to this information on YouTube. And if you want to follow me on my other social media, you can follow me on Instagram, X, and I'll put it down below in the description. And if you want to check out my podcast I do with a lot of people from the entertainment and linguistic industry, then be sure to check that out. I'll be linked down below in the description. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.